Market Peak with Seth and Matt. Welcome, everybody. This is Seth and Matt with Market Peak, P-E-E-K. This is Saturday, but we're recording our Sunday, March 7th episode. We record on Saturday night. Please, before we get started, hit the subscribe button over there, the like button. Go ahead and spank it somewhere in this area. We got some stuff we're going to cover today. We're going to be talking about 5 reasons the market is set to rally. If you watch the Saturday show, you'll see that we did 5 reasons the market may continue to correct. Today, we're talking about why it might rally. Just a little positivity going into Monday. The market prep for Monday, the stocks that we like, possible trades that we think would be beneficial. Also, maybe some stuff to stay away from for now. And then predictions for the week. So how's it going, Matt? Have a good Saturday?
Good, man.
Little Grand Marnier for the show. I'm worth it.
Little GM.
Mm-hmm. I like the 150. Really big fan of the 100-year. It's just regular.
I thought they discontinued the 150.
Did they discontinue it?
And just kept the centenaire.
It's
either they discontinued the centenaire and I forget. I've never had the 150.
So the 150, I think, was a cinquantenaire. I love them all, to be honest with you. So I was always more a fan of the 100-year anyway. So bonus. So, all right. First of all, we're not financial. Well, I guess this isn't first of all. We're not financial advisors. None of this is official advice. Do your own research. Your D squared, all that stuff. Just make sure you're prepared with your own knowledge. Just giving you our thoughts, what we think is going to go on. Please leave us a comment with any comments you might have. If you agree, you disagree. Stuff that was great, stuff that sucked, all that. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and jump in with 5 reasons the market is set to rally. And number 1, S&P 500 has hit critical support. So please.
Touchdown on that 50-day.
Sure.
That is serious trendline support. We saw a bounce today on a little bit of volume. That leads me to believe that we may hold support here.
Sure.
And look, we could come back down to retest the 50-day. I mean, that would be no big deal. It happens all the time, but it's hard to kill a bull. That's what I'll say.
True.
People are in dip buying mode. They're bullish. They're looking for that next, 5-bagger. They're in the market.
Yeah, it's when you look at the S&P, it's a really nice, healthy bounce, I have to say. Yeah. It's literally like a springboard. It's like boing.
I like how you put that, healthy.
Yeah.
A healthy bit of consolidation.
Yeah, big time. I'm with you on that. I'm looking at that definitely makes me a little bit more excited. That's for sure.
But let me ask you this.
Sure.
Where do you think the money's going? Do you think people are just taking profit and sitting on cash, waiting on the sidelines?
I think people saw the dip. I think people woke up this morning and were like, holy crap, it's still going down. It's Friday. Who knows what could happen? And that's why we saw, let me go into the 1 day here. So, and we saw it continue to go down. And that's when, it hit as low as it was going to go and started to go up. But I think you've had a lot of people that we've been talking about this for, the whole time we've been doing the show even beforehand. But in the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of talking about when is that official little correction going to happen. And I've mentioned a few times that, people are on edge. They're not sure what's going to happen, if it's going to go up, if it's just going to tank and get the real correction, which this isn't it. And I feel like people thought maybe this is the time. Maybe it's happening now. Let me go ahead and sell. And then, as you can see, we started to get support to move back up. And once it got back, especially the S&P, but other stocks, once they got back to where they were at the beginning of the day, people started to realize it's going to continue to go up. Do you agree with why it went down?
Yeah. I think people are looking at the bond market and looking at, the stimulus news and taking a step back.
Sure.
Maybe reevaluating. I think it's a good idea to get back in, personally.
Right, yeah. Honestly, you'll be a little bit late on Monday, but I just think Monday morning, and it happens, Senate gets stuff done over the weekend. There's a possibility that, like, okay, we got it together, the stimulus package, it's good to go. There's a good chance that Monday could just completely explode. So, we'll
Mondays are typically good market days.
Yeah, for sure.
What's hanging up the stimulus right now? It's a dispute over unemployment insurance.
And the cut, at what dollar level can you get some of the stimulus checks? The federal $15 an hour thing that was already rejected. There's a lot of stuff that's going into that. I think at the end of the day, the Democrats want to appease the Republicans because I really feel like they do want to try to come together. Otherwise, they could just jam it through. But they're really trying to like make this a bipartisan thing. We're in this together, which I think would be extremely healthy for the country as well as the stock market. And in the end of the day, they're going to make the Republicans as happy as they can. Eventually, they're going to jam it through because that's what they feel is necessary. So we'll see.
Fair.
For sure. So, all right. And number 2, accommodative Fed. So the Fed's just doing everything they can to just make sure the stock market keeps going.
Yeah. They're protecting your retirement account. They're protecting the buying power of the average American. They want you to go out and spend.
They're buying high risk debt.
To, put you in that mindset. So the buying high yield debt, exactly. If they're willing to go in and buy high yield debt, backstop the most illiquid stocks, the riskiest stocks.
True.
What do you have to lose?
Lend money to small businesses that'll never make it.
Yeah. So, I mean, they'll get their money back eventually, but it might take a while. And the Federal Reserve is run by a group of smart people, and they have a plan in place. It may not be a plan that right now makes much sense to a lot of people, particularly to chart technicians.
Sure.
But it seems to be working so far.
100%. All right. And number 3, small caps still outperforming. So even after the rough week we had, I didn't even look. I mean, even after the rough week we had, do you still feel the small caps are doing better?
Yeah, just look at the 5-year chart in the IWM.
Okay.
Look at that thing.
5-year chart. And here we go. Yeah. Damn. It's like
when you have a chart like that,
like a double black diamond.
There's no resistance.
True.
Yeah, there's no overhead supply to chew through on your way up, so you can just keep rallying. And here's the big thing, Seth. There are 2 sectors that have yet to experience this euphoric rally, right, that we've seen over the past year. Energy and banks.
Sure.
Interest rates back off. That's good for banks. Oil goes up, which it is now.
Finally.
And it's and there's a seasonality to it.
True.
You're going to get higher oil prices
in the summer,
apparently during the summer.
Sure.
So that's going to put a lot of producers back online and be healthy for the energy space in general. So energy, banks, those 2 sectors comprise a decent portion of the IWM. So that's where I'd be looking to park my money right now.
Sure.
Occidental Petroleum, I know you're a fan of them.
I have been, right? Yeah. And Diamondback.
Marathon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Occidental, they're going to make it. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to go bankrupt. It's like, they're not going to freaking go bankrupt. And if anything, especially in the oil market, this just made the ones that survived a lot stronger. I feel like today, I mean, oil was up today. Oil's been up. Like it's been actually here. Let me do it. Oxy. Just for the hell of it. Occidental Petroleum. We'll go ahead. I'll pull up the 3-month. So as you can see, it's been doing pretty well. It's, all the way. And if you actually go back a year, at one point, it was down to like, actually, you can't see it here. It's down to like $8. So there you go. $8.61. It got hit hard. In fact, it was down $8.61, like something like that, like $8.50, October 28th. So it's just been completely exploding ever since then. And with things starting to open up, Oxy, I feel like, you know what? I might be a good time to put a call on Oxy, to be honest with you. I'm starting to, never even really thought of it.
Buffett aspect.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, that's the one I'm looking at personally, that and Marathon Oil.
What's the ticker for that one? I know FANG is another one. That's Diamondback Energy. They're an oil company, but they just really have their shit together. If you look at the year, at one point they're down to like 15, yeah. And this is where I was like, I feel like it could go a little bit longer, lower, and then it just jumped up. But that's another one. FANG's been really, really kicking ass. And if you look at the 5-year, or if you look at all, it goes up to about 130. So there's still a lot of room to move for this one. I just like Occidental. It's a little bit more high risk, high reward, but I feel like either one of them you could do pretty well.
And here's one thing I can say. Out where I live right now, there are a lot of oil derricks coming up right now.
Oil what?
More than what is usual. Oil derricks.
What's a derrick? I don't even know.
So it's a structure that is built to um, transition in new pipes.
Okay, sure.
Right?
So like the rigging that drills the hole, sort of, kind of.
Basically,
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, shale,
That may be
shale producers. What's that?
that may be a sign.
That's definitely a sign. And we already said, it's one of those situations where if you made it through to this point, it's only uphill from here. And once again, I'll go back to OXY. I just feel like there's a lot more possibility for this one to move. If I go to all, you can see it topped out at 110. It's only 31 right now. It's got a lot of room to still move up. So those of you looking to get into oil, once again, FANG, F-A-N-G is my one. If you're looking a little bit more low risk, low reward, and if you're looking for high risk, high reward, definitely jump into OXY, Occidental Petroleum. And this is the one you like, right? Marathon Oil. Oh wow, $12. Okay,
Yeah,
it was down to like 3.
There's a lot of price.
Sure. If I go to all 40, oh okay, sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
nice. Do they drill? What do they do?
I believe they're just a producer.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean,
but a lot of those companies, like have lateral control over like their market. So some of them produce, some of them extract, right?
Sure.
And refine.
Yeah.
But
gotcha. All right. So people looking to get into oil, these are 3 you could definitely look into for sure. All right. So number 4, the weak dollar. I mean, this is definitely a good one. Obviously, with inflation and stuff like that, you can kind of teeter a little bit on how far you want it to go. But I definitely think the weak dollar is definitely, one that's going to help us out for sure.
Yeah. A weak dollar is good for large multinational stocks. They're selling products overseas with dollars. So the further your dollar can stretch, the better.
Sure. Agreed. Not to mention
also a weak.
Please.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, not to mention having a weak dollar makes it, makes our products a little bit cheaper as well. So, it helps with exports.
It's good for commodities. It's good for emerging markets. And also more fundamentally than all of that, if the dollar is weak, that pushes people away from that trade.
Sure. That's true.
Right? The dollar is typically a safe haven. It's a pretty stable asset you can invest in. But if you're going to get a slightly negative return or barely any return at all, you're going to go to stocks. Yeah.
Which is exactly what's been happening for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And the last one, the VIX spike heading into options expiration. So let me bring the VIX up here. Once again, this is our favorite chart. All right. So I'll go ahead and bring up the month. And it's definitely spiked a couple times. But you feel like we're
spikes.
done. Yeah.
So typically you'll see the VIX spike earlier in the month or at the very end of the month, right after that third Friday in which options expire.
Which is what happened last month.
Most options are monthly options.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of complicated, but basic premise is that market makers will spike the VIX and drop the market just enough early in the month to get that fear trade going, to get bears in. And once that happens, they slowly suppress the VIX and drive the market higher. And eventually all those people who are shorting or buying puts have to unwind out of those trades because they can't handle any more pain.
Sure.
And when they do that, they buy shares.
Yeah. Okay.
And that sends the market higher.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But every once in a while, you'll see some unusual activity and you'll get these VIX spikes later in the month, right?
And this one's coming up kind of right in the middle.
Exactly, which makes me kind of think that we could potentially head lower because a lot of these hedge funds will buy puts just, again, as a hedge, right, to their long positions. And those puts are going to expire that third Friday, right? Normally they just roll them. And by that, I mean, they just cash out and buy more puts.
Sure.
Right. And they only do that if the IV on those puts is low, right? Because they don't want to have to pay too much premium.
Sure.
And they can create a scenario that suppresses the IV. All they got to do is make sure that the market grinds higher, right? And that IV on this puts is going to naturally start to decay.
Yeah.
Okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So bottom line is we're at a crossroads here. I think the VIX is going to get crushed, and this like mid-month spike is a fake out. That's what I think, right? Because we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the COVID crash, right?
Yeah, celebrating, he says.
People, yeah, exactly. People might be getting a little fearful. They're looking at the bond market, turbulence there. They're looking at all these headlines. They're looking at us being overextended generally. They're looking at all these sentiment indicators, and they're thinking, man, maybe it's time to take profit. Maybe the market's going to head lower. I think it's all nonsense. Then again, the VIX is holding support, right? Those puts, in terms of strike price, are down there at that maybe 320 to 330 level in SPY, which is the S&P proxy ETF.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see a scenario in which we go all the way down there, so that those hedge funds are then able to actually profit off those puts and then ride the market straight back up. April's a very bullish a month for the market traditionally. So, but again, there's so many.
You think SPY could get down to 330, 320, you said?
That 320 to 330 area.
Sure.
Is where I'd expect major support to be found.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll definitely see what happens. That's for sure. So, all right, Monday prep. Before we get started, please don't forget to spank the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. But stocks that we like for tomorrow, I'm going to jump off and just say my favorite one for right now. It's going to be WATT, W-A-T-T. We speak about it a lot, and we had mentioned it yesterday as well. If you look, it's right at the support line right now. It's a stock that, obviously a lot can happen, not official advice, but if you look at it, it can really only go up from here. Obviously there's things that can go wrong, but it's just a great time to get in. If you want to put a call, I got a $4 call, I got a $4.50 call and a $5 call, all in the April, was it 19th or 16th expiration. So I'm pretty much ready to go, rocking with those. In fact, the $4 call I got earlier on Friday, it's already about to cash in a little bit, for sure. So what do you got out there?
All I have to say is that we're an interesting place chart-wise across all the indices. I'm bullish. I think dip buyers take us higher. We find support on the 50-day. And I'm looking at energy, and I'm looking at small cap banks.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
I think that's not the final frontier, but the next big frontier, the next, big profit.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Speaking of energy, so they're uranium miners. Yes, please. Speaking
of mining, so I do know people in the mining industry, in the extraction industry.
Sure.
And speaking to a friend who works in a rock mine, actually, and he's saying,
wait, what is a rock mine? They mine rocks?
Yep. Exactly.
Really?
Exactly.
Okay.
And they're pretty deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, he's saying, based on his contacts, that commodities are hot, natural resources are the place to be. Copper, in particular, is set to take off, especially if there's this reflation in demand.
Sure.
Narrative playing.
Tesla has secured their own nickel mines.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
You can do that, first of all.
Yeah.
But and again, a weak dollar plays into all of
Big
that
time.
too, because most commodities are traded in dollars. The weaker the dollar, the more commodities you can buy. It's particularly good for emerging markets, but it's going to be good for the United States.
And that's what I like about Energy Fuels, because they obviously, once again, the uranium, but they announced, was it last week? I think it was last week they announced that they're going to start doing a little bit more of a focus on rare earth metals, particularly in the United States and in Europe, because China does have a bit of a lockdown on a lot of it, but there are some here in the United States, actually a decent amount. We stopped mining them because China was just, doing it a lot cheaper. But now that there's been some friction over the rare earth metals, going to start, doing it more here in the United States. And Energy Fuels announced that they're going to be moving into that as well. And that's why I bought 200 shares. Yeah, but I'm with you on that. Another one. So yeah, I like Energy Fuels for sure for a good play on Monday. Palantir. This is one that I think might even, what is this? This the 1 month? Oh, yeah. I mean, the 1 month, look at that. The 3 month, this would be a perfect time for a call on Monday, I think, for Palantir. So I don't know if you're spend as much time on Wall Street bets as I have this week. I know you definitely frequent it quite a bit. So Palantir was a stock that they were pushing on Wall Street bets. I think it was Thursday, maybe Friday. But it was like this really, really big push. Like, this is the one we're going to do. Everyone get in. This is the one. Because they've been friends with Palantir for a while. Like they love Palantir. I think it was going to get its own thread. But unfortunately, nothing really happened because the stock market decided to take a big dump. So, but I definitely think on Monday, this would be a good one to put a call on for sure.
Yeah.
And this is one you brought to the table. You mentioned this. I didn't even know about this one until you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's kind of a company that is shrouded in mystery as far as exactly what they do is concerned.
Sure.
But hey, you've got Peter Thiel, a bunch of sketchy billionaire investors. You've got a company business model that revolves around everything data and software and cybersecurity related. And you have a strong connection to the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is always big.
Yeah. So I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully they're not doing anything evil, but
probably not. Hopefully they don't become another SolarWinds. That would be nice at the very least. God. So, all right. So those are the ones that I feel like are, would be a good move for Monday's stuff to stay away from. So AITX, because it was up like 48% on Friday or 45%, I feel like it's probably time for a dip. So those of you that are in, I can't say which way it's going to go, but definitely if you have money in it, hold it. But I wouldn't, I just be careful with that one for sure. Rocket obviously is another one that's been pretty big on Wall Street bets. It's sitting a little bit above the support line. I feel like there's a lot of move for it to move up. We have a lot of room for the squeeze to happen. I feel like this is one that should take off. Maybe wait and see what happens, see what's going to be happening pre-market. And then Tesla. Were you telling me that there was like a bunch of 100 or 120, 130 puts on Tesla?
So there are a lot of contracts down at that, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe it's like that 150 strike price somewhere around there. And that could just be them trying to push the order book.
Okay.
Stuff the order book.
Stuff that'll never get through.
Yeah.
Or so if it does, that'd be great.
See.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've probably already made a ton of money on it.
Yeah. I mean, it went from almost 900 and now it's at 597.95. What is this? So looking at the 3 month,
5% correction.
I mean, if you look at the 3 month, it's right at where it started, like almost to a T from where it started 3 months ago. So it's definitely, interesting to see if it'll bounce back or if it's going to reacquire support down the 420, 410 level. We'll see. But I think that's one to probably stay away from for a while as well. So, all right, predictions, man. What do you think's going to happen? On Monday, we always think it's going to go up. I think it's going to go up. But what do you see happening next week?
You know me. I'm bullish.
Sure.
I think we rally. Next week. I think the VIX maybe gives us another fake out spike, but then just gets crushed.
Probably on Tuesday.
I think, yeah. I think the S&P. But again, you got to approach this with. You got to approach any correction. Or I shouldn't even say correction. You have to approach any period of consolidation with the mindset that if this downturn is being driven on purpose, right, by market makers trying to inject fear,
right back up.
Yeah. Then they're going to push you to that limit. They're going to try and make convincing. They're going to make you afraid and push you to that the edge of the sand.
Sure.
Right. They're going to make you
to the precipice.
Sell. Yeah. They're going to want you to, be afraid. They're going to try to make you sell, and it's right after you sell that they typically send the market higher. So, I'm bullish. I think we bounce off support. We hold the 50-day. We head higher. We resume the healthy uptrend, clearly defined uptrend.
Sure.
But just be aware that there might be some chop.
For sure.
As well.
I'm with you. I think we're going to start bulling it out. I expect things to kind of start moving back up again. I feel like, I feel like it was a fairly healthy, not a big explosion, not a a nice gradual dip, and it seems like we found a way to bounce back, which is great. Do you feel like tech starts to rebound more or oil? Do you feel like it'll continue? Do you feel like people are maybe moving stuff out of tech and into oil right now?
So I'd anticipate crude to actually consolidate a little bit, because we've gone so high.
So oil, if you're looking for oil, maybe wait just a little bit and see what happens. Okay.
Yeah. Because you don't want it going too high.
Sure.
Right.
Because then it's just gonna.
Yeah. Because
someone's gonna pop the balloon.
Screams, before a recession.
Sure.
So you don't want it, getting to that $80 level. That being said, it's a sector that got creamed last year.
Big time.
I don't know if you remember that futures debacle.
Oil was like minus $30 a barrel.
40 something a barrel.
Dude. Insane.
Insane. Yeah, it's insane.
So
tech shut down a lot of producers and put a constraint on supply, which is typically, a price driver.
Sure. And they had to close a lot of stuff down too. Like I said, it's just making these companies stronger because it's all profitability from here.
But what I think about tech is, I think if we do have a serious correction here, we get like that, 10 to 20% flush.
You're talking about market wide or just in the tech sector?
Market wide.
Okay.
Market wide. S&P's down 15, 20%.
Okay.
I think it's time to back up the truck and go into tech, because tech behaved like a safety trade last year, and I think it will do so again.
Sure. Makes sense.
If we see another big dip. And here's the thing, you're dealing with the best companies in the world. Like the NASDAQ, from a long-term investment standpoint, is the place to be.
Sure.
Let's be honest.
Sure. I hear you. All right. I guess that's pretty much all we got. So we always, end Sunday's show with what are you excited about? And for me, I am excited to hopefully see all my calls on Watt come to fruition for sure. I'm also excited to see what happens with Rocket. Like I said, I got in at like 38.50. I got in. Actually, I got in after the dip when it was going back up. I'm like, all right, it's going back up. Now's the time. Obviously, shit happens. But at the same time, I'm just, I'm excited to see what happens with those two stocks specifically. I'm actually excited. I got some UU as well, just to get into energy fuels, because once again, rare earth metals, they are going to be the future of mining from a money-making standpoint, because they're rare earth metals. So whoever has, the lockdown on those is definitely going to be doing really well. What about yourself?
I hope they seal the deal on stimulus next week. And if they do, I think the market will use that as an excuse to rally further.
So you're excited for the signing of the stimulus. I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I just say get it over with so we can move on to whatever the next big hope, is going to be. We can't see past it, right? It's all about, stimulus. Like, I want to think, okay, what's next? So we just need to get past that so we can move on.
Infrastructure, a $4 trillion infrastructure bill.
That would be great. $4 trillion, Jesus. But infrastructure for sure. So, all right. What's that?
It'll be high.
It'll be high for sure, and that's money that just goes right back into the into the country, into the economy. So, all right, well, leave us a comment with your thoughts, what you like, what you didn't. If you're watching this far, really appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button way over there or over there, depending on what device and if we're full screen or whatever. Thanks for watching. So, any last minute thoughts, Matt?
Take risks and stay safe.
All right. You heard it right here. Talk to you guys later. Market Peak, PEEK. See you on Tuesday. Thanks a lot.